Good morning, my beautiful people. It is a lovely 7 o'clock morning. And guys, so I'm starting a new tradition. I have a list of names here. And these are all the relationships in the smashing freeform original Good Trouble. So what I want to start doing is every Friday morning or every Friday night once school starts, after the Good Trouble premiere on Tuesday night, once everyone's had a chance to watch it, I'm going to go through and discuss with you guys everything that has happened on live streams. So you guys can come on, discuss your interests and that kind of thing. And I'm going to start doing this with whatever show I'm watching at the time. If you guys have any recommendations, please leave them in the comments because I would love to read them. So before we go ahead and get started, because I am so excited to do this, you guys, let's go ahead and meet the characters. So, Callie and Mariana, Adam's foster, of course, are the main characters. If you didn't watch The Fosters, this show is going to be a little bit harder to follow. Callie, of course, has her booming law practice because she's able to relate back to her days in foster care. That is the key here for Callie in really accelerating her practice, is just using her experiences to kind of catapult herself where she wants to be. And that, for me, is amazing. Now, Mariana is a tech woman, I guess you could say, and she is fighting for women's rights at a company she works for called Speculate. Now, she is downed for being Latina and also objectified and sexualized. So this show focuses largely, very, very largely on women's rights, especially Mariana's battle through women's rights, because she definitely wants to try and change the dynamic of which Speculate is run. And she gets a lot of helps, including from an Indian guy named Raj, who you'll hear more about in our relationship list. I'm sorry, guys, my foot is itchy. But yes, Raj and Mariana are one of the couples, and I can't wait to tell you about them. So those are the two main characters, and then there's Davia, who lives at the Coterie, which is kind of the apartment complex that Callie and Mariana live in, and they're living in LA. And this is basically a communal living space. Each person or a group of people has their own apartment, whoever you choose to live with. It's all separate rooms, but it's a studio apartment, and there's one main bathroom, one main kitchen, that kind of thing. So it's like rooms, but with like a giant house. They live on top of a theater, which I think is actually really cool and kind of different from, the normal housing situation. And when they actually first get into LA, all of their stuff ends up getting stolen, and it's really cool just to think about, just to see how everything plays out. So yeah, Davia is one of the main characters. She is a very, very body positive person, except when it comes to her mother. And anyone who watched this week's episode will know that she does not like eating around her mother because her mother has never been fond of her daughter's weight. In fact, her mother is a fan of plastic surgery, which makes things 10 times worse for Davia because she is struggling with anorexia. She may be bigger, but she is still anorexic, and she battled with that because of her mother's fat shaming. So she ended up weighing, at one point in her life, only 90 pounds, which caused her to be anorexic. And, that's something that can always come back. So I definitely think that Davia has had her fair share of, dare I say, heartbreak. And that makes her a way stronger person. So, now that you guys know a couple of the characters, let's go ahead and get into this list. So first, we have Davia and Jeff. So, Davia, of course, I just told you about Davia. Jeff is a married guy from Fitchburg, Pennsylvania. I think it's Pennsylvania. It's Fitchburg, but I think it's, it sounds right, Pennsylvania. And basically, he has been having an affair with Davia on and off for years. And of course, she always knew about his marriage, but she had very, very low self-esteem. High body confidence, but very low self-esteem. And because she didn't think much of herself, she didn't think that she deserved to be with anyone of status, anyone who, cared about hurting people. So she chose Jeff, and their relationship is really rocky. In the latest episode, he wants to move to California. She was kind of using their distance as an excuse to break up with him because he had left his wife for her. But she found love with Dennis. Davia and Dennis. Give them a round of applause, everybody. They finally found each other. Guys, I was shipping Davia and Dennis for all of season 2. I mean, come on. It can't be that hard to find each other already. Davia and Dennis are like my main ship right now next to Callie and Jamie. You'll hear about them in a minute. Raj and Mariana. They're one of my favorites. Oh, I love Raj so much. He's one of my favorite characters of all time. He risked getting fired just to help Mariana fight for what's right. And that, to me, is a real man, you guys. So Raj is a very heroic figure to Mariana and to the audience, honestly. He is a very, very heroic and manly figure. He stands up to the jerkholes who sexualize Mariana, also known as her teammates. The people that are supposed to be with her are actually against her. Kind of a shocker there, In fact, the minute she stepped foot into the office, she was objectified and sexualized by these men who thought they were smarter than her. She's actually like way smarter than them. And prettier, honestly. But yeah, Mariana and Raj kind of strike up an unlikely friendship. Raj never agreed with what the jerkholes were saying about her and to her, behind her back and to her face. So he decides to help her fight for the respect she deserves. And they end up getting really close and eventually dating. So next we have... I have a theory that Davia and Dennis are going to get together, and this is why. So, as you all know, there are 2 people who lost their sons to cancer on this show. There's Dennis and there's Gael. Well, we'll get into Gael a little later. Dennis was really messed up husband, not a great father. He regrets a lot of his decisions. And his son dies of cancer at a very young age. He was still practically a toddler when he dies of cancer. And Dennis really takes this to heart because he never paid attention to his son when he was alive. So Dennis contemplates committing suicide on multiple different occasions. Davia, of course, kind of talks some sense into him and is like, well, why should you live why should you have the pleasure of dying when your son fought so hard to live? That is a great point. Anyone whose child dies from cancer, even if you weren't a great parent. What is up with my bed? 1 second. It's a water bottle. Whatever. Even if your child dies of cancer or, heart failure or whatever, you should want to live for them. They fought hard for life. Don't fight hard to lose your life. There was a saying I saw the other day and it actually really, really stuck with me. It's that it takes up to 4 days with labor to bring a child into this world, to bring a human being into this world. But they can take their life away in a split second. Kind of crazy, isn't it? So yeah, I have a theory that Davia and Dennis are going to get together because she was really there for him when he needed her, when he didn't have anyone to turn to. I'm sorry I'm moving so much. My feet are falling asleep and I hate the feeling of tingly feet. I can't. Okay. So the next people on our list are Callie and Jamie. So Jamie is a very well-respected lawyer. And Callie is kind of starting out, she's still getting the lay of the land a little. And what ends up happening is that she asks Jamie to be her. She knew Jamie for, throughout law school. And she asks Jamie to be her lawyer in a personal case. And, they strike up their friendship again. They get the ball rolling, and things just kind of happen. And I am so excited to see, ever since the last, the end of season 1, when Callie chose Jamie over Gael, I am so curious to see where everything goes. I can't wait. Okay, so next on our list, we have Ryan and Gael. Now, yes, Gael is Gael. He's gay. Well, bisexual, because obviously he was with Callie for a short while. Although their relationship was more sexual than anything, really. Kind of disgusting. Whatever floats your boat, dude. So the story behind Gael and Ryan is that Gael is a struggling artist. Ryan helps him rebuild his flame. That's pretty much all there is. Ryan helps him get his art displayed, and so does Callie. But the weird thing is that Gael hates the art he produces with Ryan. He doesn't think it's worthy. But what he produces with Callie actually feels like him. So that's their connection, is art. Okay. Then there's Sumi and Mira. Now, these are two people that I haven't told you guys about yet. Sumi is Alice's best friend. Alice is the owner of the Coterie, which is the complex that these women live in. And one man, Dennis. And basically, Alice's gay best friend, Sumi, is marrying a woman named Mira. Except in the latest 2 episodes, the wedding gets called off because Mira finds out that Sumi is still in love with Alice. Alice and Sumi had kind of a whirlwind romance. That brings us into Alice and Sumi's romance. Alice and Sumi were best friends. Alice was secretly in love with Sumi. Sumi secretly knew, didn't want to tell Alice she knew, so Alice didn't know that Sumi secretly knew. And, of course, Alice's parents love Sumi to death. And that's how that started. So it's a little crazy. And then Alice offers to help Sumi and Mira plan their wedding to get her mind off of the fact that the love of her life is getting married. That she thinks Sumi is the love of her life until she meets Joey. Now, Alice and Joey, that's our next one. And that is a very, very confusing story. So, Alice and Joey meet, but they don't start dating right away. At first, Alice, talks to Joey, goes on one date with them. I say them because it doesn't really have a gender, so, they, them pronouns. Alice goes on a date with them, and then, they kind of part ways for a while, and then Alice calls them one night and is like, how about that second date? And they're like, well, how about you come on my radio show? You're a really great stand-up comedian, and I could use someone like you on my show. So they go, Alice goes on Joey's show, and things go great, and they end up falling in love, and that is one of the craziest shit, man. Like, it's awesome. I am so happy for Alice. She finally found someone that makes her feel great. And I'm happy for Joey because they kind of had it rough. Well, guys, that's pretty much all of the relationships I can conquer up for this installment, my very first installment of Good Trouble Chat. So, meet me back here next Friday morning at 7 o'clock so we can do our next Good Trouble Chat on the next episode of Good Trouble, airing this Tuesday at 9 on Freeform.